Hi everyone, this is Cody, and in this video I'm going to be doing a review of the Spyderco Tenacious. Okay, so this is actually a knife I've been wanting to get for a while, but I just haven't because I really haven't needed it, but I decided to get it, and with this particular one I've actually been quite happy with it. So this has a blade length of 3 3/8 inches, so it's longer than kind of your typical 3-inch blade. So it's for an EDC knife, it is reasonably big, depending on how big of knives you like carrying. But honestly, I find it okay. It's just big enough that it does everything I want it to do, but yet it's small enough it still fits in my pocket okay. I would have kind of liked a pocket clip, a deep carry, but yeah, obviously it wouldn't be as easy to pull out your pocket that way. So I can see why they've done it this way, so you can mount it in all the different positions. So this is really a lot of knife for your money. So this knife, you're looking at around 40 bucks, I think, something like that. And it's got, the steel is 8CR 13 MOV. Now that's kind of basically how they can make it this inexpensive. They just stuck some of that steel on. But everything else on it really is Spyderco quality. Like it's got G10 scales. They feel great. If you haven't used G10 before, it's like you get, it's just a different feel. It feels really nice. It's like wood, but it's different. It is really nice to hold on to. It locks up in your hand, but yet it doesn't feel rough. Now this knife weighs around 4 ounces, so it's pretty light for what it is. I mean, keep in mind it's got a huge blade on it. Now inside, I don't know if you can actually see that, the liners are hollowed out. Maybe better from that way. So that obviously reduces weight, and then it's kind of a pillar construction. So when you close the knife, you can see it from the rear there. So that means it's very lightweight for what it is. It's got a lanyard hole here. And overall, I think it's a great knife. Now, there is one thing that happened to me. So I ordered this off Amazon and got it originally, or actually a different one, and it seemed nice, but there was one problem, which is the pivot kept coming loose. So, I'd open the knife, and then within like a day or whatever, the pivot would come loose already. So I tightened it back up, and it just wouldn't stay tight. I mean, even if I tightened it so you really couldn't open the blade easily, it would still just come loose again. So I sent that one back to Amazon, and they sent me a fresh one, and I've been using it for about a week now, and I've had absolutely no issues with it. It's still rock solid. The pivot, both sides, haven't had to adjust it or anything, and it still flies open. So I think as long as you get a good one, which is, from looking at the reviews, it sounds like everyone does get good ones. I guess I just had a fluke. It is a really good quality knife. Now everything is made on it. This is something you will notice if you're used to cheaper knives. Like, all the corners and all the edges are perfectly ground flat, 90 degrees on everything. So it really feels like a quality knife. And then these are nice and rounded so they don't hurt your hands. Now when it's actually in your hand, it is pretty comfortable. It's not what I would call the most comfortable knife, but it probably is a really ergonomic knife. Like, I don't think, like this, if you're cutting for a long time, your hand's not in a weird position like some knives. And then it doesn't really have a finger guard, which some people could give as a minus. But with the jimping, nice, kind of somewhat aggressive jimping, I'd say it's pretty aggressive up here, although it doesn't tear up your thumb. You're kind of locked in. There's no way this is coming out of your hand. And I think it makes up for not having a finger guard. And it does have jimping on the liner here, and the liner lock is another great feature. It just works really well. You can easily push it to the side, and it performs really well. It locks up in a good position. It's just at the very start, but it's fully covered, so that's pretty much perfect. And then everything else on this knife really is kind of what I would want in a everyday carry knife. Now there are a few downfalls to this knife. It's a little big for probably a lot of people with EDC, which that could be a disadvantage. Now you can't actually carry this deep in your pocket, so there's going to be a huge chunk of this knife sticking out. So people are going to know you have a knife and know you have a big knife if you're carrying it. Now I think on eBay you can get some aftermarket pocket clips for like 20 bucks that change that, but that's kind of expensive, so it doesn't seem worth it to me to do it, at least yet. It seems like if I was going to spend the extra 20 bucks, I may as well have gotten a nicer knife to start with, like a more expensive Spyderco. But they are an option if you really like this knife, which probably a lot of you would. Now there is one thing that this knife doesn't have, and I don't think any Spydercos do, at least as far as I know, which is some sort of assisted opening. It doesn't have a flipper, it doesn't have some sort of thumb stud, and it doesn't go out on its own. Now that, it seems like a disadvantage, and it could be. There is some skill involved in getting down this this opening with the thumb, the spider hole there. But with the phosphor bronze bushings in there, it just glides perfectly, just like that. You get used to it, and you can do it. You can do it with one thumb. At first, you may have to kind of flick it, but then you get your thumb strength, and you can just do it. And really, once you get used to it, it's just as fast as any of the flipper knives, although it's definitely not as easy, at least starting out. So that could be a disadvantage, but I kind of like it this way. There's less to go wrong. I've had one of the speed assists go wrong before, like a good quality one, so you know, it's kind of, it makes me wonder a little bit. I feel like this is more reliable, and it should be easy to clean and everything. So overall, I kind of prefer that. Now, out of the box, this actually, on this particular knife, I haven't actually put my edge on it yet. It's still factory edge. I've done some cutting cardboard, tape, just normal kind of EDC tasks. I haven't really beat it up. The previous one, the one that was actually had the issue, I sharpened it on the WorkSharp guided sharpening system. It sharpened up just absolutely amazing. Razor edge, it would shave and everything. This one I haven't done that with yet, but do have some paper here. So I'm assuming after doing some cutting and stuff, it'll still slice paper. No issues there. And this is just with the factory Spyderco edge. So that's pretty nice. Overall, I think this knife is great. So for around 40 bucks, I don't think you can go wrong with it. It's probably a great knife. If you know someone who's into knives and doesn't already have this, it'll be a great sort of gift for them. And then also, if you're interested in it yourself, this is a great knife. The blade shape and the full flat grind just make it awesome for slicing through stuff. And this is one of those knives you're going to pick up and carry in your EDC. So if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you all in the next video.